Welcome to my bed and welcome to my ASMR bedtime show, where I hope to help you find calm and relax a bit, maybe to sleep, maybe to work, whatever it may be. And I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you. How have you been? You can write me in the comments or you can write me a message and I'm going to be happy to talk to you. I've actually been quite sick, like 1 or 2 weeks ago. You might know this already. My partner gave me the norovirus, which she caught at work, and I was taking care of her, so I got it too. So for the full 1 or 2 days, I was spending most of my time on the toilet, so to say. And it was pretty bad because I haven't been really sick for like 15 years. And it was an interesting feeling when it's just like your body is in so much agony that it's like, whew, that's pretty bad, to be honest. I wouldn't want to live like this for a long time. But then again, I'm better now. And actually, maybe some of you won't like to hear this, but I got my first vaccination already against COVID. It's because I have some asthma that I got it pretty early, and I'm not super keen on getting it, but at the same time, I feel like if I want things to go back to normal, that's probably my best chance I have. If we want to go on vacation in summer, it's probably gonna be helpful. And so far I haven't grown a tail yet, so there's that, I guess. It's pretty good. So yeah, I would say this time I would like to start with some ASMR picks and also making some ASMR to relax a bit. Alright, my favorite intentional ASMR video of the week was Michaela ASMR. She's a creator I more and more like. She kind of reminds me of SZA, who's also a great singer, by the way, but she just makes the perfect mouth sounds, which I generally don't like so much, but with her I love it. And also she's quite high energy and aggressive, which with her works really well. And this week she made 10 role plays into one or something, which I think was great. So here are some moments which I really enjoyed.
You go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi, love. Come in, come. Hello. How can we help you at this one-stop makeover shop? Oh, you're here for a free trial. Amazing. First and last name. I see you right here. If you can just sign our terms of agreement. You don't have to read it. Don't worry about that. Just sign. I have my lotion right here. And let's get our lotion. Lotion. Just get that going. A little. Okay, a little. Just close that back up. And let's get that all on you. Lotion you up. Get you a nice massage. Just to be safe, let's go ahead and give you a little mini lice treatment, okay? Yes, a little mini lice treatment. So we're just gonna get my foam. And we're just gonna move it around in the hair, okay? Alright. Let's go ahead and move it around in the hair. Just zzz it up. Do you feel wanted? Do you feel loved? Do you think you'll ever find love? Do you think true love exists? Do you believe in Cupid? What are your thoughts on Valentine's Day?
Alright, let's talk unintentional ASMR a bit. As you might know, I really love shopping channels and sales pitches for some reason for unintentional ASMR. And there's one I recently discovered, which is one from New Zealand. They kind of stopped uploading on YouTube, but I found some real gems, I think, and I actually made a compilation but my favorite voice was probably Claudia, a hair clinic owner or whatever, who pitched her services, some kind of strange hair analysis or something, but she's clearly German speaking, but she kind of has a Kiwi accent too, and the two mixed together really, it's pretty adorable the way she speaks, and it gave me good ASMR. And here are some moments from Claudia.
SRS clinics are a third-generation practitioner-based clinic in Auckland and in Christchurch, and we have 26 years of experience, a little bit over now, offering authentic Ayurvedic natural methods of diagnosing and service. We help your own hair to grow faster and better.
Wow.
We can offer a wealth of experience, having seen and successfully treated thousands of clients worldwide. First of all, let me show what a damaged hair follicle looks like and the healthy one in comparison. So just over here on the left-hand side, we can see the damaged hair root, whereas on the right-hand side is the healthy one. Clearly, the left-hand side looks quite shrunken and tiny and small, pretty much like a wilted flower, whereas the right-hand side, I don't have to say much, you can see, it looks quite full and plump and kind of saturated with nutrients. Yeah. So that's quite a difference. Don't we want all beautiful, healthy hair? But there's an answer to it. We invite all shopping channel viewers and their friends and family to come to an SRS hair clinic to have a specialized hair analysis consultation. This gives people a deeper look and understanding of the current state of their hair. And we can discuss preventative measures and how to solve any hair problems deep down at the hair root where the problem first starts. And that's even before it's visible in the mirror. That involves a 45-minute examination of the hair root and the scalp using several different state-of-the-art microscopes to find out the most likely cause of the hair problems. And then finally, a handheld microscope. The technician would use a handheld microscope, put it onto the scalp, and just narrows in on a tiny section of the scalp. It's a totally non-invasive method. It's not, it doesn't hurt. Great. So I just put this on your scalp. So if you focus on the monitor, okay, see the center? Yeah. As we can see on the center, it is actually 3 hair coming out of the same follicle. That's what we want. Phew. And right next to it, you see 2 out of the same, and below that, it's also 2. So it looks pretty good, but obviously there's always room for improvement. And if you want to know more, you can come to our clinic.
And by the way, if you want to see more of Claudia, or if you want to see the other sales pitches that I really enjoyed, you can see the full video in the description. Secondly, there's a channel which I really enjoyed. It's called, or the name is Michael Witter, of the creator. He mostly talks about conspiracies, namely about alien life on Mars. I'm not really into conspiracies myself, but the way he talks pretty calmly, and the way he tries to find some bunkers and dinosaurs and alien life and technology on Mars is pretty interesting, and I found it quite relaxing. So here are some moments from this channel.
This is the first of 2 photographs I've used. There's some fascinating stuff here that I want to show you. The first thing I want you to look at these depressions going up the rock. This is an area that they call the rocky outcrop. Let's start over here. You see this depression here that goes up naturally up the slope. If you look there, you can actually see some cable or rope going up through the rock and hanging down there with a hook on the end. It seems like a hook, and then it goes through that hole there, and I suspect up. But look at this. This one didn't work. Can you see? The rope everywhere. This is all open. And in fact, if you look at it from there, you can see quite clearly, this is all manufactured. It's been made like that. It's a huge, huge canvas. And this one, if you think of a hot air balloon, look at the shape of that. I know it's open there now. This, for some reason, didn't work, or it's been damaged. It comes down to this point here. And you see that section there? There's an opening there. And that is why I think all of those rocks that we've seen, especially the ugly one, are not real. They're covering habitats, machinery, bunkers, I don't know.
Alright, and again, if you want to see more of this, I'm gonna link a longer video in the description. Then I thought I would make some ASMR myself, namely some keycap sounds. 1 second, please. Gotta be careful, but you might know that I made a video with these keycaps that I purchased somewhere, and that's a pretty big bag of keycaps, and I don't know why, but I like it. I find it satisfying. Used, looking at the colorways, looking at the different profiles. There's high ones and there's very narrow ones. But you gotta be careful, some don't work with certain keyboards, because I bought a space bar which I noticed doesn't fit on my switches, which is somewhat unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. I still enjoyed unboxing this, and yeah, I actually just customized a new mechanical keyboard. I think I'm gonna upload the video next week, and I kind of went overboard. I spent like $400 on it, so pretty crazy keycaps and so on, so that was that. Gotta be careful to not be too loud, because otherwise it's not that pleasant. I feel like some more videos with them. Maybe even in stores or something. So I don't know how yet exactly, but they're really cool. They came from England, so I'm really looking forward to testing them soon. Alright, so that was my keycap trigger, and if you want to see more, I have more videos on the channel of mechanical keyboards and keycaps and stuff. Alright, just before talking about the ideas I've been thinking about, I wanted to let you know that if you enjoy these ASMR bedtime shows, I want to make them every week on Patreon, and I want to make them audio only because I want to create an exclusive Patreon only RSS feed where you can listen to the bedtime shows on your podcast app. And this way I want to go a bit deeper, maybe get a bit more personal, stuff that maybe I wouldn't share on YouTube, but also find more interesting, deeper topics, and also maybe share some unintentional and intentional ASMR that I didn't share before, and just experiment a bit with the formats and getting better and better at creating something for you that really helps you relax and fall asleep. So I'm really looking forward to this, and you can go to patreon.com/findcalm. I'm gonna link it in the description as well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. I'm probably still gonna make them on YouTube maybe once a month, but mostly make them on Patreon. That's what I decided. So yeah, that's basically that. And I would say let's start with the content section. Alright, here's what I've been thinking about this week. The pull of negativity. I spend a lot of time online on social media, I have to admit, and it becomes more and more obvious what I already suspected in a way, namely that negativity has an extremely strong pull, and unfortunately also that negativity seems to be more interesting, more engaging, more addictive, more powerful than positivity. And maybe that's obvious to you, but I want to expand a bit on it, on the implications, on the whys, and also on what we can do about this. Because you might know this already, and experience a similar thing. If you're online, we might click on that cat video or on that uplifting, wholesome story. But usually if we see something like meltdown of a celebrity or sex scandal of this and that person, of a politician, or some other very bad tragedy, we almost feel magnetically pulled to click on that. We almost don't have a choice, which is very unfortunate, right? So eventually we end up hearing about celebrities we don't even really care about, just because we kind of enjoy seeing people fail, especially celebrities, it seems. Just one example, I don't care at all about the royal family in the UK. I don't have any vested interest in them. However, I still know about Prince Harry and Meghan deserting the royal family and going to LA, having the interview with Oprah about some racist uncle or something, and now the death, and is Harry gonna get back with his brother and all this stuff. It's just, I don't care about it, but I still click on it. That's fascinating, right? And the same probably goes for you as well with celebrities I don't even know about. I still hear about them, which is very unfortunate. And you probably read about this too. There's probably an evolutionary reason why we are this way. Because our ancestors had to prioritize negativity over positivity. We had to give it more headspace because it was an advantage to think about the future all the time, to worry about being eaten by a snake or by a tiger. And if we were just happy and content and just grateful, we probably didn't survive or didn't do the things that helped us thrive, whatever. But unfortunately, this evolutionary trait is very damaging nowadays because it is being exploited in many cases and by many people to our disadvantage, I feel like. I also feel that there is a social aspect as well, because we're probably the species that is most susceptible and sensitive to social hierarchies, and if we see a celebrity fail, we kind of love to see it in a way. I think jealousy and Schadenfreude play a huge role in this as well, because secretly a part of us likes it if, I don't know, Justin Bieber is a drug addict or something, because it's just super easy to hate on celebrities and to find something we hate about them. It's no secret that the media thrives on negativity, right? The media basically loves if something bad happens. If there's a war, if there's a terror attack, it's perfect. I mean, Trump was a gift that kept on giving. And they still write about Trump. I just read 2 articles, like one about Russian collusion, the other one about he's going to be remembered as the worst president in the world or something like this. If it bleeds, it leads, right? This is what the media noticed. And here in Switzerland, I still notice that the media, a lot of the media, like NZZ, tries to be somewhat neutral and doesn't try to fall into clickbait so much. But if it goes to America or something, it seems to be the next step, and Europe, we usually become like America after a few years, it seems, and so I expect this to be even more aggressively pushed in the future. I feel that the media in many cases loses its power and influence, the traditional media, but they make up for it by becoming more populistic, more clickbaity. And also I feel this COVID time is a perfect gift for them that keeps on giving, because there's always some country that fails and that is really in trouble, like India, unfortunately right now, or there's always a new mutant, and there's an endless supply of politicians who are completely incompetent and make all the mistakes, right? And you can write so many articles about all of these things, about the vaccinations too, and all of these things, unfortunately. I think it's also a cultural thing, because especially in Germany, I feel this German angst, this fear, this neuroticism is just so deeply ingrained into the culture and people that it's almost, how do you say, palpable. You feel it in the energy field almost, you could say, even though that sounds kind of woo-woo. There are so many German intellectuals being just negative all the time and complaining about, like, the most popular people talking about the stock market, just talk about the crash all the time, and about you have to go into gold and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's definitely how you feel inside is what you resonate with on an exterior level. And the Germans seem to be very much susceptible to this toxic, neurotic energy, whereas I feel that in Australia, for instance, they have a bit more lightness, and this also is felt in the news, even though probably Murdoch and so on isn't the perfect example there. But in any case, what I find very interesting, and maybe something you haven't thought about, that I see this pull of negativity in places I wouldn't have expected it so much. Let me give you one example. There's a German YouTuber who's quite popular. He's called Held der Steine, Hero of Stones. And he basically talks about Lego, and he builds these Lego sets. That sounds pretty wholesome, right? Well, if you watch him a bit more, you notice basically his whole channel is predicated on him shitting on Lego. He's just basically complaining all the time about Lego is overpriced. They are getting worse and worse. They have these stupid Star Wars sets which are just so bad. And all his most popular videos are just titled something like, "This is the worst set ever of Lego and this is just a scam," and so on. And he's been sued by them, and he is most of his videos are just pure negativity, complaining about Lego. So you would think, right, this should be a positive, uplifting, wholesome channel. But most of it is just complaining, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving, because he has like 500,000 subscribers or even more, just based on him shitting on Lego, basically. And my hypothesis is, if he was just a genuine Lego fan, being super enthusiastic about it, like, I love Lego, I love Star Wars, he would probably have only 10,000 subscribers. That's just unfortunate, but it's true. And I don't really care about Lego. I never really was a Lego fan, a huge one, but I still click on his videos sometimes just to hear about how Lego is screwing up and how they have these new product lines which are just overpriced and don't work well, and how they have consultants that ruin the company and so on. This is his hypothesis. So yeah, interesting, right?
Also, die Lego konnte zwar mein erstes Video auf die Sekunde genau Frame für Frame durchgucken und feststellen, was ich da gemacht habe, aber den offensichtlichsten Fehler auf ihrer eigenen Webseite, mit der sie Kunden versuchen zu locken mit Funktionen, die es gar nicht gibt, es ist ihnen irgendwie durchgerutscht. Das ist auch schwierig mit der Qualitätskontrolle. Da wird ja der Gewinn kleiner, wenn man ein bisschen mehr sich Mühe gibt, gell? Es ist Controlling 101. Ja, ich weiß, das ist gute Berater sind Gold wert. Also das ist auf jeden Fall, man kann mit dem Ding nichts mehr machen.
And then just one other example, there's this podcast, H3. Usually it was actually a channel where Ethan Klein made these sketches who were pretty entertaining sometimes, kind of edgy, sometimes not so edgy. But now what he generally does is he just talks about YouTubers, about James Charles. It's just gossip. Like, his genuine, unique content mostly got replaced with just gossiping for 1 hour about James Charles, about Jake Paul, about some people I don't even care about personally, but still, like, I sometimes listen. I don't care about James Charles and him messaging underage guys. I think it sucks and it's not good, but I don't even know James Charles really. And this is what I mean. I know about this stuff. I know about Prince Harry. I know about James Charles. I know about Jake Paul. I know about Logan Paul. I know about how bad Lego is. I don't want to know this. I don't want to have these celebrities take so much of my headspace. I'm not interested in their lives. And that's the important part. There is still this magnetic pull of negativity that I cannot seem to escape, right? All my mindfulness and me actually recognizing that this is being used in a clickbait fashion, these names, I still fall for it and I still click on it. It's interesting, right? And there's so many other instances, like comedians who are just very negative, or Twitter people looking for outrage and going on these Twitter wars and so on. And it's very unfortunate. And you probably know many examples as well in your life. And this is a trend I find a bit unfortunate and alarming also to some extent. A lot of YouTubers, at least the biggest ones, seem to have noticed what the best strategy is to be successful on YouTube and be efficient on YouTube, namely reacting to videos which they consider cringy, like some people with mental health issues, like for instance, Your Mom's House podcast is a lot of TikTok videos of people with mental health issues and some dumb other stuff, or just reacting to other cringy shows and to Bad Bobby or something, or to Jake Paul. And a lot of these channels, even PewDiePie, is mainly reaction channels, right? They don't create their own content. They don't have actors and sets and ideas. They just watch other videos and then they give their semi-entertaining comments like, this is crazy, or look at this guy. And this is their videos. This is their way of making money. it's allowed as per fair use or something, but it's unfortunate, but it's really easy to make this type of content, and it's really effective because you basically can capitalize on all this negativity. Because if you have a title like super cringy, look at Jake Paul, or this is so bad, look what Biden did or something, people are gonna click on this. People are gonna very reliably click on this. And it's just easier to make these types of videos. You can even do a podcast and have your ad reads or something in there. If you kind of look behind the curtains of how they monetize it and everything, and how longer content means more ad reads, and they can even put their ads in front of it and they just talk about what other people do, you notice how it's just the easiest way to create content seems to be to react and to create outrage about stuff that isn't even that interesting. Like, let's be honest, it's not worth it to think about Jake Paul or about some other Dr. Phil or something. It's just not that interesting. Or even about politicians. Most of the stuff about politicians is just the same gossip, just for more academic people. You can feel a bit more highbrow when talking shit about Gavin Newsom or about some right-wing politicians or whatever, as opposed to Jake Paul. But it's essentially the same, right? But it's not only limited to YouTube. I also see this trend on many other platforms. I mean, Twitter, obviously, I'm not really on Twitter so much. Reddit and so on can be very toxic if you go on r/politics or something, or if you go on r/cringy or something, or sad cringe. It's just, or the right can't meme or the left can't meme or something. It's just an endless stream of shitting on somebody else. And this obviously leads to polarization in so many instances, like left against right, COVID against no COVID, religion, atheist, Palestine, Israel. It's just so unfortunate because it's not necessary, it's not helpful, but there are some people who capitalize off of this outrage very much. I've seen this on Medium as well. I actually kind of enjoyed reading on Medium a while ago, which is just a kind of a consolidator for blogs. But what tends to get, actually I got a pro subscription and I actually pay for it. But now what tends to get recommended to me is just, again, this kind of outrage journalism, which just the title is just so clickbaity that you have to click almost on it. Kind of like, I hate my husband, or I do hate all white men. Just as an example, I noted the top 2 articles that got recommended to me today on Medium, which are, let me just quickly check. Yeah, I don't give a damn if you don't want to be called cisgender was number 1. And number 2 was, I had sex with 16 men in 1 year, and don't you dare judge me. I mean, maybe those are valid points, but why are they so confrontational? I mean, I do have some sympathy for online content creators. I guess if you're a freelance journalist and you need to pay your bills, maybe you have to write articles like this about I hate my husband, or it's similar to OnlyFans, right? You need to break through the clutter of all the stuff on the internet, and you have to be outrageous in some way, because otherwise you don't even get noticed. And that's so unfortunate. All these cringe and fail and outrage videos get so much more traction than just normal, positive, uplifting videos usually do. And this is just, I'm not bitter about it. I think it's just the way people work, probably. But it's just something that you have to, to take into consideration, because your brain is probably wired in a similar way. And I know for myself, I also am a victim to this pull of negativity. And I know that I don't feel very good when consuming this type of information. Actually, I think there have been some attempts to create positive and uplifting news sites which just post wholesome stories like, look at this new cure for a disease, or this is something nice that happened. But usually those don't get much traction, right? Or do you know any site? I mean, The Onion or something has more traffic than those positive, uplifting, wholesome sites, right? So there's not really a demand, it seems, for uplifting stuff. And maybe it's because it doesn't resonate with us, with our hearts, really, with our stressed and kind of bitter and kind of cynical hearts. And it's quite unfortunate. And it seems that we almost can't bear just pure positivity in a way, I feel like. More so maybe in the US, where there's more this American dream, but I think this gets less and less. But in Europe, and especially Germany or something, you don't want to talk too much about somebody who made it. People are gonna shit on this person. People don't even like to show their nice cars or something. They're almost ashamed of this stuff. It's more understatement, which I guess can be good too, but it almost feels like we're only comfortable with something positive and wholesome if it's a turnaround story, like a homeless person turning his life around and getting rid of his drug addiction and now having a normal job. We prefer to talk about this or read about this rather than just a person from a good household who also becomes wealthy. We don't really want to hear this stuff. And also, I think marketers always found out that if they want to sell you something, they have to invent a story, make up a story of how they were struggling and depressed. But then when finding this information, then basically they were able to come out of it and become rich and successful. Basically make up a struggle is apparently something that you have to do for people to resonate with you, because if you just say, I was always pretty happy and then I also become wealthy, people, a lot of people don't really like to hear that story because they're not really in a good place. And so they get jealous and envious and they want to actually tear you down as well, which I can sympathize with in some sense, but it's not healthy. I think it's also no coincidence that our religion, Christianity, is very much built upon suffering. And also Buddhism in many ways is built on suffering and not so much on just like triumph and feeling good. I think if Jesus was just a good-looking, wealthy person who also got enlightened, we wouldn't really be able to identify so much with him, because we would just say, I don't know, he doesn't get our problems, our simple problems. But the fact that you really had got humiliated and suffered and got tortured makes us resonate more with him and say, okay, he's actually somebody kind of like a role model, maybe in some sense. In any case, all of this probably to some extent you already thought about at one point in your life. But the question now becomes, what can we do about this? Because we know there's this pull of negativity, and I also am very confident that this is only going to grow because traditional legacy media is kind of losing their influence right now, and they notice that they have to become more obnoxious, more clickbaity to keep the attention of people, and that they can actually still keep their jobs if they can become outrageous and if they can become kind of similar to Twitter people or YouTube people in their headlines. So I do suspect that the whole world will sooner or later kind of become like Twitter or like YouTube in the way that it's very clickbaity. So it's only going to become worse. How are you going to protect yourself from this toxicity? Because you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that it's not good for you to watch and to consume this type of toxic information all the time. I mean, we instinctively feel that, right? It's just like eating candy all day or watching super effed up porn or something all day, we instinctively know that's probably not good for my brain, because my brain changes. There's neuroplasticity, and it kind of saps your joy, your optimism, and just kind of makes you think the whole world is effed up. And I guess it is in some sense, but also with social media, this obviously perpetuated the whole problem and amplified it so manifold that we aren't prepared for this. And this kind of sounds like a boomer, like we have to get rid of all of this. I'm not saying this. I love the internet, and I also love Reddit and YouTube. I like to be entertained in some way, but we have to be careful, because we're the product. We're being played. We're the ones who get manipulated into getting outraged, into getting agitated. And the media or the people, there's some people who profit off of this, because they make money with your attention, with your eyeballs. They can sell you products, they can make you scared and sell you gold or Bitcoin or whatever product they have. Wherever there's outrage, there's somebody who capitalizes off of this. And maybe it's just Twitter, maybe it's just Facebook, who basically do this. And then also this can be used politically. Maybe there are some Russian bots. I mean, there's evidence that there are some Russian bots or Russian hackers who basically go on social media all day, and Chinese too, who try to destabilize your country and try to actively put fuel into the fire, put oil into the fire, and try to create these divides against Republican, Democrat, left, right, anti-gun, pro-gun, anti-vaccine, pro-vaccine, all of these things. So just safeguard your attention. And I guess the best recommendation is to just live life, live more of a real life. I know it's difficult in these times, but hopefully we get a bit more freedom soon. I think the best way is really to go out and to just lay down your smartphone when you come home, and just instead of going through your thread of Twitter feed or through your Reddit feed or your YouTube feed, just go outside, meet some real people maybe, or just take a walk. This sounds very boomerish, but I think that's probably the best thing we can do. I think feeding our body is good too. I'm gonna get a pull-up bar again in my room. So every time I feel inclined to go on social media, and I don't even really enjoy it, it's just so I get like the small dopamine hike. Instead, I do a few pull-ups. This is something that's quite effective for me. And I'm susceptible to this dopamine high because I probably have some form of ADHD, I'm not sure. But yeah, long story short, live a real life. Be very wary of people manipulating you. Yeah, I think the first step is really recognizing that our brains are addicted in a way to negativity, like we're addicted to sugar, because that had back in the day an evolutionary advantage, but it doesn't have an evolutionary advantage anymore. And this is why we have to protect ourselves against this negativity. I think it's unfortunate that YouTube and many other places have become, I think we've just become smarter, and we have developed better strategies at getting eyeballs. And the best way to get eyeballs is to generate outrage, to talk about celebrities, to talk about terrible things. That's unfortunate. I just think it's not very healthy to consume this information all the time. It's not win-win for you to consume this, because it's a win for the person making money off of it, but the only thing you get is a small dopamine hike. But then you just feel bad, you feel like the world is a bad place. And I think this is my goal, is to consume less of it, to become smarter about it. And I don't want to know anymore about James Charles and about the Dobrik brothers, or about some comedian who did something kind of inappropriate, or some Twitter person saying something totally crazy. I don't want to know about it. And even like Joe Rogan or something talks too much about it. I guess it's entertaining to some people. Don't get me wrong, I still want to know important stuff. And just recently I listened to a podcast about how the plastics we've been using all of these years make us infertile, basically, and basically made it so that men don't have any sperm count anymore and lead to terrible problems with many other things, libido, even penis size, to be honest. That was pretty interesting. Maybe this is information I don't need, but I think this is something that is scientific, and it will lead me to be more careful with plastics I use, with soft plastics. I'm not gonna put my food anymore in plastic bags, and I'm gonna be careful about not putting my water inside of these plastic bags either. And this is the type of stuff, and general geopolitical stuff, economic stuff, I still want to know about it, but I try to get it from a pretty neutral news source. All I'm saying is, it's crazy how strong the pull of negativity is. Most successful content creators notice that, and they either use sex or negativity to get your eyeballs. Don't fall for that unless you sincerely enjoy it, but I think eventually you'll notice I don't really gain so much from it. I have one life, maybe an afterlife, but I want to enjoy my life right now. And this is not really what enjoying my life looks like. No. So that was it, basically. I hope you maybe enjoyed my ASMR pics, and maybe you can relate to my thoughts, maybe you disagree, and you can leave your comment, and you can reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss and expand further. Again, I want to mention my Patreon, where I'm gonna be uploading these ASMR shows weekly as an audio version, which you can listen to on the way to work, or when you're traveling, or when you're trying to sleep, because I feel that there's really not that many things to listen to when you try to fall asleep. I need something that's kind of interesting, kind of engaging, but also somewhat relaxing, and I hope to kind of fulfill that need. And again, it's affordable, and you can support me this way, and I really try to make it really good for you, really put my best ASMR pics in there, and also get a bit more in-depth and personal with these thoughts that I have. And not all of them are super smart, but I'm on my journey, right? I'm trying to become better, and I think in general I just have so much sympathy for people who just think a bit differently, and this is why I think I love the ASMR community so much. There are so many people here who are kind of hypersensitive, who are maybe a bit introverted, who maybe struggle with mental health, and all of these things somewhat apply to me as well. And this is why I feel that this is kind of my crowd, and this is almost my way of communicating, because I don't really have the need to talk to people that much, but just to feel that I'm able to reach out to people, and it's not really so much about myself. I don't really need to see myself. I don't want to become famous at all, and this is why I almost prefer audio as opposed to video. I think this is the right way to go. I'm gonna see if people enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to doing this. So there's that. Again, you can go to patreon.com/findcalm, and I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm so grateful that you're here on this channel and apparently enjoying what I do and supporting what I do. So thank you so much. I think I have some great videos coming up, which I'm excited about. I still want to continue exploring different ideas, like talking more about really interesting topics that I want to explore more, like science and space and medieval themes, religion, things like this. But also maybe I want to do videos where I just go into a store, create some great ASMR triggers there. I'm still looking for like the perfect action cam to do that. I'm maybe considering getting like a DJI action cam or like a Insta Go-To or maybe a GoPro, but it's not really reliable. So I'm still thinking about different ways how to do that, or maybe a Sony action cam. But yeah, I'm rambling too much. This is it. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.